Здравствуйте, уважаемые слушатели, зрители.
Hello dear viewers, I'm Dr. Andrew Polozov of Ural Federal University. I have been the subject rankings in team sports martial arts game. Today I will show you what a rating in the sport. So will we see the differences of modern classifications and their evolution. Sooner or later the rating will be appreciated by the participants in a macro event. We also discuss the principles of the rating scale and the convergence of the proposed universal model rating. Unfortunately, in a brief review it is impossible to mention all aspects. So I'll give links to the work. I hope that you read the slides. I apologize for any errors. You can write to me. My email address you see on the screen. I also have a personal site, while it is true in Russian. I'm doing research in the field of sports ranking for 20 years. During this time, several books. I want to present some of them to you. First of all, this is the book Rating in Sports, Yesterday, Today and Tomorrow, which has been published by Soviet Sport in 2007. In 2011, the publishing house of Business and Life in Moscow published a book, Encyclopedia Rating, Economy, Sport and Society. In it, I was looking for a topic generalization ranking for various areas. I have a study in the psychology of sport. This is the book module Psychological Structure in the Sport. It deals with the types of personality, types, nature and types of intelligence. I myself played indoor soccer, so I could not pass by this sport. First, it is carried out its work, and then wrote a book, New Technologies in Training Teams. I had to do joint research with the Russian Federation Team Sports. In particular, in 2008, I was doing research level playing hockey for the Continental Hockey League Ice Hockey Federation of Russia. The same year, a similar study was done for the Russian national team. Today, I cannot remember most of my first book in 1995. It was a monograph. The short form will bring some of the most significant publications of particular highlight of my master's and doctorate. They were both devoted to the theme ranking in the sport. First of all, we need to understand what is the score, what exactly are we looking for. Researchers understand how different is this word, ranking in sport. What does that mean? We will see a lot of different opinions, and we must be prepared for the fact that summarize all these opinions we need to formulate a view, which absorbs all suggested. Rating, individual numerical fact rating, conventional numerical fact rating, shift in the area of positive integers, result, participant, universal, hypothetical, circular, Maslow tournament a year. Ranking table, tennis team, hereinafter, rating, a numerical expression of the power play table. Tennis, more importance rating means a stronger game of table tennis. The individual coefficient is a measure of his chess practical force, expressed in numerical form. Rating, as an evaluation of one relative to the other person involved, is used in many industries and activities. Rating, evaluation of public recognition of business viability. Rating, a term derived from the theory of probability and statistics. Rating is the share won by the information space. Rating is the amount of labor expended. Rating, a stimulus. The basis of the are rated based on the principle, do not record the success or failure of the last teams in the competition, and to encourage the upgrade instruction in current events. Rating, the space occupied by an athlete. Rating is the location athletes are ranked according to the level shown athletic performance. Rating, to identify the strongest team altogether. Summed up, ratings cannot be certain unknown individual numerical coefficient. This is not the solution. but an escape from it. Ratings cannot in any way represent the space occupied by the athletes. Place determined by the rating, but not the rating of the place ranking on a force play. Skill. This is the right direction for further reflection, but not up them, just some intermediate stage. Ranking the party as a result of total macro tournament summarizes all of the above opinion. This is the power of the game and recognition, and the national team took and so on. Let's see what are the stages of ranking in the sport. 1. Rating, the view of the expert group. In particular, the assignment of rank, a title of the athlete, is another option summarized by such. Classifications can be the words uncle said. The only difference is that the uncle can be not only neutral judge, but the real opponents. 2. Information mixture. All the information about the object collapses into a single mass, and who it will be more. That will be a priority. The main problem of such classifications, rating has no physical meaning, and composite non-linear ingredients interact with each other. Throwing up is one, then the other. 3. Bonus classification rating. For each occupant in the competition receive points that are added to the end of the year. Thus is formed the final rating. It is about transforming the bonus point system. This is a more differentiated approach. 4. Rating is a result of the formula for success. Success rates are taken and summarized in the magical formula. An example of such a formula: calculation of the coefficient of utility player in basketball. However, these formulas do not have the capacity to change, and gradually their efficiency drops. 5. Serial conversion rating in the direction of greatest athlete balance rankings and results. This LO-like classification, implicitly using the solution of linear equations. This kind of classification of trying to improve perfect formula ALO. As a result, they're composed of patches. Uncle Tom's Cabin. All want to repair, who will build it? 6. Rating, the result of a hypothetical member of the global chaotic macro tournament, which is defined by an explicit system of linear equations, the SLE, where the party is offset all the factors that create unequal conditions. Chaotic macro tournament consists of a set is not always related micro tournament cup, regular season international tournaments. 7. Real global macro tournament results are presented in the form of ranking. The prototype of such a global macro is a Swiss system tournament. Real global macro tournament will only be ensured if the convergence of expected and actual results. We both looked at the different definition of the rating. We met with the evolution of this is clear in time. Now, we need to briefly look at the main conflict of the classifications. Difference between them is greater than the similarities that take as information spaces. Rating applies to sports where the results are scored and missed, the balance, balls, goals, points, etc. Accordingly, this initial setting and should be used by us, not the options in the form of points, scope of scale rating, each point, game, set, party, matches. tournaments. In practice, no such problem. Rating should monitor the level of the game to allow the athlete every second. What period? Competition estimated rating, month, year to 10 years. We are used to the fact that there were champions in 2010. Is the champion in 2011, champion 2012. That is, for each calendar year, there is a champion. And here we do not need to think, especially because of the annual results. Easy to get results in 5 or 10 years, required for a usable rating distribution must be specified as a function. A table of values, in tabular format, is given. When it is not able to find certain functions, is the normal distribution of functions the probability of winning. Normal distribution applies to the entire sample, to the entire population, and in our case it is a part of the population. Therefore, the normal peak on playing on the local group is not out of the question. What is the minimum number of games to play participants to apply for ratings? It depends on the density of the results. Rating should arrange participants so that the error distance between them was less than the actual distance, equal or another increase rated one of the contestants and the loss of ratings of other. If the model is linear, it should. In the non-linear model is not necessary, but not enough to use such a model. Who wants to? Can I get ratings of all members of 2 isolated from each tournament? If you play on Mars, Venus and between the 2 planets is no competition. There will be a separate rating for Mars, a separate one for Venus. Theoretically, there is no reason to join in one list. Should consider in the calculation of meetings among themselves rivals of different classes. If contestants are not equal, the weaker one will overestimate. This is not a problem when it comes to qualifying events. However, it appears when summing up the competition rated what is the initial mean rating in different classifications, it should be small, but so that the rating of the weakest participant number was positive. In memory of LO we need to keep the value of 2200. Average rating. All participants must always be corrected. OR permanent. Whereas in 1900 it was 2200, in 1950, also in 2200, in 2012 2200. It means that the sport just is not developed. To account for this development must be adjusted in 2200. For this it is necessary to monitor the density of the location of participants, which is in the process of growing. Whether to apply the principle of transitivity to the ratings in the sport example, but only if the generalization of the results to the whole population lie 1-2 more on the range of results for the year, and 2 more like 3, then 1 more than 3 thereby. This can be the only one's possible distribution of the ratings. When you write an equation to calculate the ranking member 1, then 2, and so member D, you implicitly write out of system of linear equations her decision to go to school, and that's why many sports fans do not need to learn to count. Graph theory. Changes in the ratings determined following the regular meeting are after a whole race true. Both assumptions. Rating should be able to monitor the results of per second athlete. Will Google in the rating of factors that create unequal conditions or not? At this point it is better to level factors themselves conditions of the competition. However, all the factors align not always possible. In this case, it can be done in principle, but not used to it. Whether the value of the exact number rating or we are talking about of certain interval rating, scale rating, the average point fluctuations in the level of the athlete. Therefore the question of the range is always appropriate, but consider it a meaningless exercise whether the results official competition situation of the parties in the rankings. It depends on the formula tournament. In a circular, the results are always adequate. In the Olympic tournament, wins often not the strongest and the most successful. Tournament formula can distort the balance of power. Should change rules for rating more reliable results, raise or meets here. Yes, competition rules should be changed, at least because of the alignment in the balance of power. The most sensitive issue for the rating, reducing efficiency, also important to match fixing. In addition, the exchange of teams between leagues should vary depending on how many newcomers dropped out of the tournament. Semi-isolated event creates problems. When there are players from Germany and Russia, their ratings often do not match the balance of forces. This is due to the fact that in the countries athletes play more often, and the error is determined by number of players who play in both countries. Can we make up for in the assessment of the age factor? We can, but it is contrary to the traditions of the sport. Rating athlete increases logistical dependence of 25 and then on a different logistics decreases. Similarly in women, but only joint logistics accounts for 22 years, whether to punish members for missing events. Not unless they have warned in time. Rating is determined with an uncertainty that depends on the number of events an athlete. Therefore, it must recruit these events throughout the year. What is the difference between the rank and rating? Rank, a place occupied by rating, used where the solution algorithm is unclear. If we assume ratings work parameters of all aspects of competition, to which of them are most work, answers can be given a lot, and you can get one. Ranking tournament depends on the rating of the participants. The higher it is, the more prize money, etc. What the author classification must provide public first. Calculation formulas are principal payments. If you know the principles, dress them into a formula. Can any student? The first principle, priority goals scored and goals conceded, applied and missed punches in boxing, etc. It is the balance of realized exchange action is the starting material for the rating points. Also rating, only very simple. The second principle, if we have chosen the information base, continue looking for function. There may be many, but there is balance shot and missed beats, heads, etc. translated into an advantage in the rankings. As a result, search, we have found a function, which is the first member of the series, due to which the log, it is open to 16,668, a number of Gregory. Principle 3, transitivity. If one party is stronger on the two set of results for the year, and 2 more 3 is similar, the participant 1 more 3. Using this you cannot play a tournament in the macro range. Principle 4, a translation deep. Usually teams score this one, top players is another. We need to understand how multi-level ratings are linked. They're connected through the difference. Difference created by the team splits the difference on players, and they're put on the difference created by the player in different components. Principle 5. Asymptotic stability, named after the mathematician Sadovsky. When you write a formula for ranking participant 1, then the formula participant 2, etc., you write a system of linear equations. It is taught in school, therefore any fan understands it. We need to create and solve a system of linear equations. Principle 6. Average macro turnover should be such that the rating of the weakest of the number of participants was positive. In addition, it should increase as the density results, that is, it must respond to the progress of the sport. Principle 7. Factors that create unequal participants should be compensated in their assessment. How is leveling должно be in the competitions? Principles of correctness of the results, no isolated micro-tournaments. Otherwise, the system of linear equations is solved. You need to clean up the results of matches is not equal to the forces rivals. With a very big difference in the classroom, these results overestimate the weak. Macro tournament continues until stabilization results. At first they were all at 1.2200, then split on the rating scale. The density of the results, the average distance to the rating scale between neighbors. With its stabilization, no sense in continuing competition. We call rating shifted into the region of positive integers result participant universal. Hypothetical circular macro year tournament. Suppose you had 10 meetings in the tournament. If any of the opponents no rating, then it is assigned the average value, 2200. Average rating of your opponents, even 2500, you won 7-3. Your rating for this tournament will be. We simply solve the system of linear equations. It can solve itself, but you can do it by successive recalculations. The figure shows the order of rating system can be many. The task of ranking admits many solutions, but of all of them can be only one. This is the easiest and most accurate. The main criterion for selection of the rating, the convergence of expected and actual results. However, this requires a direct link between the rating and the result of a personal meeting. In order to prove the convergence in 2000, I compared the results of which were on the European Football Championship with the expected results obtained from the ranking. As you can see, they are very close. Let me finish on this. You and I know what a rating and how to create a universal rating system. I will be glad to communicate with you. Right, good luck.